Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Mindset Elevation Coach, Intentional Living Guide, Linda Joy. I have a question for you. Do you yearn for content that nourishes your spirit, elevates your mindset, and inspires you to live your best life? For close to 20 years, Aspire magazine has been touching the lives of women around the world, women on the path of self-discovery who yearn to live deeper, more authentic and aligned lives. And my friends, for close to 20 years, Aspire has been free. That's right, completely free. It's my love and service project to women around the world. You can grab your free subscription at subscribe2aspire.com. And by the way, it comes with dozens of transformational bonus gifts from our supporters, contributors, and friends in the personal spiritual development world. So be sure to grab yours. Are you ready to discover what it means to live beyond limits? Blending soulful wisdom with practical guidance, my guest, Kim Thalken, shares how to release what no longer serves you, embrace intentional living, one of my favorite topics if you follow this brand, and step into a life of freedom, alignment, and joy. Let me tell you a little bit about Kim. Kim is a transformational coach dedicated to helping individuals break free from limitations and step into their highest potential. After a 15-year career in the entertainment industry in sales and licensing of film and TV content, she left corporate life in 2013 to pursue her true calling, guiding people toward conscious, empowered living. Kim, I am so happy that you are here with me today.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and just really appreciative of the work it is that you do.
Well, thank you. Right back at you, my friend. One of the things I always love to ask my guests before we dive in is, I always found this red thread through all the guests I've had for the last decade. And that red thread is this: sometimes our most difficult parts of our life led us to the soulful work we're doing now. So what was the pivotal moment that led you to step into the work of guiding others through transformation?
Well, yes, I couldn't agree with you more. Are the difficult times that inspire us, that ultimately can inspire us. And I think what first put me on this path was in my 20s, I had a very devastating breakup that was unexpected. And I just knew that there was more than that there was more than meets the eye with what happened there. And I was in search of truth. And that is what inspired me to get into meditation, put me on a path of self-discovery. Although at that time I didn't realize that this was the work I would be doing full time. I was still in the entertainment industry, but that's what kind of was the catalyst that put me on this path. And then, as you noted, I spent 15 years in the entertainment industry, and I was at a time of transition, and I was doing all the interviews, and all the doors began to close on me in the corporate world. And I was actually studying energy healing at that time, and I was one of the people that were in my class. She was practicing. It was time to practice on each other, and so she was practicing on me. And it was at that time that Archangel Michael came through, and I got the sense that oh my gosh, I can do whatever it is I want to do. Because I kind of had one foot in this world, one foot in the corporate world. And so that's what I tell people is that, beings of light, they can help us anchor in higher consciousness beliefs so that it's not just a concept, but it's something that it is we feel in our body. That's different than just a concept in our head, but we've all heard, oh, you can do whatever you put your mind to. But it's one thing to, have that thought, but it's another to feel it in your body and to know it as truth. And so when I came out of that healing, everything about me had shifted, and I knew in my heart that that was possible. And so I took some of those next steps and kind of looked at the situation at hand where places that I should have been hired, those doors were starting to close. That was because I was being redirected down a different path, a path that was more, in alignment with the truth of who I am. And also is a path that was one that brings me great, great joy. And so, yeah, I am living my life's purpose right now, and it's such a critical time for this, any kind of work that elevates consciousness, that's about spiritual development, personal development. So incredibly important when you look at, where the world is, where humanity is. This is a pivotal point for us. So I'm incredibly it just brings me so much joy to be in this space at such an important time in our lives.
No, that really resonates with my own journey, and Archangel Michael's one of my buddies. So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so I have a whole divine support team, but he's been with me for many years. And
Yes.
so I got a big smile on my face when you said that. And
Oh,
I believe we all have a divine support team, right? That's made
absolutely.
up of our divine connections, whether that is the archangels, those who passed over, spirit guides. I have a lot of Native American support. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, when you said that, it brought a smile to my face. And it's so
Oh,
funny because I think I can relate because when I look back at my life, and to give you some context, I'm a former welfare mom, runaway, high school dropout, trauma survivor. And I opened my first business in 34 years ago with no experience, grew it rapidly using my love. I just wanted to love people and serve them. And I wasn't on this path at that time, but I see now that all my experiences in my younger years led me to my deep desire to serve women and children. Right.
hmm.
So I've been doing that in my own way for 30 something years, over 20 years with these brands. But I see and can giggle now and go, oh, I see why I had to go through that so that I can have more empathy, compassion, love for women who are there right now. I can hold them in sacred space because
Yes.
I've felt it. I've experienced some of what they're experiencing. And I think it makes us stronger, more compassionate guides for women on the path of self-discovery when we can integrate all our wounds in wisdom in our desire to serve. And that's what I'm hearing through what you reflected back.
Yes, absolutely. And, I think what this, one of the most beautiful aspects of this kind of work is that you can make the past useful and recognize that instead of what might happen or what some people do is they stay in a place of victim, right? Victim consciousness. Why is this happening to me? But this kind of work will show you, the purpose behind it, the meaning behind it. And then once you understand that, you make the past useful and have an actual appreciation for some of the hardships that you may have been presented with, that we've been presented with in our own lives, and we can use that to support other people, just as you said, we're the best most qualified people to teach, right? What show other
Yeah.
people that there's a different way when we've been through it ourselves. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
because we're speaking from experience, not intellectual understanding, which
that's right.
and each one has its benefits, but I have a lot of large sacred communities of women, whether it's through my Inspired Living University or my other private groups. And we go into deep conversation on our mindset elevation calls. And one of the things that come up is what you just shared is how do I release the baggage of the past, Linda, and stop lugging it into my future, which is weighing me down. So you can't birth the future in your heart and mind when you're being weighed down by the labels you took on from your experiences. Like I used to say, oh, when I was in my 20s, not now. Um, Oh, I'll never be able to accomplish my dreams. I'm a high school dropout. I'm a welfare mom. I wore those labels as if they were my identity because that's what the world teaches us, and maybe some feedback from family, etc. And what I
Sure.
realize is, damn, those labels are not me. Those just are definitions of my experiences, not who I am. And once I got that, my life accelerated. NBC flew me out to tape a national TV talk show about my life journey. And all those things couldn't have happened, just like all those doors that closed for you because you were being divinely redirected to your soul's work. It's the same thing. I noticed that too. We were redirected, even though it was painful at the time. We're like,
Yes.
oh, I see why that door closed because this is what I'm meant to do. Do you feel that too?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because, when we understand how the mind works and, where the limitations come from, it's so empowering because we can change the narrative in our own mind. We have the power to do that at any time. We can tell ourselves something different at any time. That is the power of the mind. And when you understand that it's primitive, then you can upgrade it. So that's one of the pillars of my work as a hypnotherapist is we upgrade the mind. And then we get the mind on board, the subconscious mind on board with what it is we really want to experience in life. And it can start working for us instead of against us, instead of keeping us, in a place that's comfortable that we've thought of as being comfortable, but it's really holding us back. And what the mind is deemed as safe. And we can flip that around and make something new comfortable, make what it is we really desire comfortable, and where it is we've come from uncomfortable. So we don't have to stay there anymore. And the mind can help us with that.
It's so true. And I love, your whole topic about beyond limits. So we're going to talk about that more. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, let's talk about moving beyond limits, what it means, how someone can begin to recognize the signs that are holding them back, and more. So stay with me, everyone. We'll be back in a moment. I'm with Kim Thalken, transformational coach. You can learn more at kimberlythalken.com. We'll be right back.
Beautiful soul, are you craving a soul nurturing community of women interested in personal and spiritual development? You're not alone. When you step onto the virtual campus of Inspired Living University, a sacred community and curriculum for women on the path of self-discovery, you become a soulful part of our high vibe family of women where you can grow, learn, and be reminded of your truth and power. Along with 2 mindset elevation circles each month with founder Linda Joy, you receive on-demand access to a sacred curriculum that includes a library of personal and spiritual development classes led by leading luminaries on topics that support you in living your most magical and intentional life. These high-value master classes are just the beginning of your transformational journey. Step into the circle today at inspiredlivinguniversity.com/sacred-invite.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, and today I'm circling up with Transformational Coach Kim Thalken. So, Kim, let's talk about moving beyond limits, which is a main core of your message. So, for our listeners, one, what does it mean, and how can someone begin to recognize the limits that are holding them back, because I think a lot of us are just on autopilot. We think our thoughts are our truth, our patterns are the way it needs to be. And I know you're going to blow that out of the water, my friend.
Well, thank you, Linda. Well, Beyond Limits was a 90-day customized coaching program that I've created for people who are ready to step into, the life it is that they desire, that's going to inspire them, that's going to allow them to create and optimize their full potential, really, who it is the truth of who they are, who they came here to be, what's available to them, and to finally start seeing it as possible as possible. So I created this program, Beyond Limits, and it's for anybody who is, feeling stuck, or maybe they have a vision or a dream for themselves, but they just don't know how to get there. They're having trouble taking next steps, or they're unclear. A lot of people that I work with, they're feeling stuck. They're having a hard time moving beyond certain thoughts that they have, that, just like you said, Linda, it's possible for other people, but not me, because I'm a high school dropout. And clearly you've proven that to be absolutely incorrect. And so can everybody else, no matter what your story is. So, and one of the things, well, there's three pillars to the work it is that I do. Is I'm an intuitive channel, which means I channel higher wisdom that helps my clients navigate their life from the highest place, so that then they start to create their bring in higher realities. As an energy healer, that's the second pillar of my work. We purify the energy field. And as a hypnotherapist, we upgrade the mind. So I just find that when we do those three things, beautiful transformations take place. People start to get excited. They start to see and feel the synchronicities in their life. They start to feel excited about life again. They start to feel that forward movement, momentum, like the light at the end. They can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's very important when we want to create something new for ourselves. That means we're going to have to elevate within ourselves too, because our current mindset and state of being and current level of consciousness is is in line with our current reality. So if we want a higher reality, that means we're going to have to level up within ourselves too. So who do we have to become in order to call that new reality forward? So that's a lot of what my program is. It supports people moving beyond those limitations and into the life it is they truly desire. So once you start, well, first I'll just backtrack here. The first pillar is engage the soul. So I teach people how to connect to their own intuition, their own inner wisdom, so that they never have to live, disempowered again. It's incredibly empowering when you know that you have the answers inside, and that you can connect to that place within you that will give you the guidance, the next steps, give you the broader perspective on life itself, on your life, and where it is you desire to go with your life. But here's the thing: once you get that guidance, then you have to get your mind on board. So what are because your mind is either going to be that catalyst that helps you move forward, or what holds you back. And so we identify, well, what are those limiting beliefs? And truthfully, anybody can do this for themselves. All of this you can do for yourself. That's a big part of my program, is empowering people, showing people how to do it for themselves, so that even beyond the program, they are set up for sustainable, results. They have tools that they can go back to at any time if they feel like you get off track. Is sometimes we get off track, but because of, some of the practices I have in my own life, which I teach people I work with, I always know I'm going to get back on track again. I don't stay down for very long. And it changes how we experience life when we know what to do and how to do it, and we know that we're capable of it, and 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 we can work with our own internal resources. That's what becomes so empowering is when you work with your own internal resources, your mind, your energy, your consciousness, your intuition, all of that resides within each one of us. So that's a lot of what I teach people how to do, but you can just get into a nice and relaxed state, right? By say focusing on your breathing, bringing your attention down into your heart, staying there, breathing in and out of your heart, taking slower, deeper breaths than usual, and then you move into a state of coherence where your brain and your heart and your body are in an optimal state of functioning. So it's working in harmony. That's when it is you are in a very empowered place. That's a very empowered place to create from. So when you're in that relaxed state, you can ask your mind, show me the beliefs I have around X, Y, and Z. What's your dream? Do you know what your dream is? What's your vision for you? Ask your mind to show you what your beliefs are around that dream or vision that you have for yourself. And you might just be incredibly surprised to find out what beliefs are there that you didn't even know existed. Some of them you might be aware of, some of them you might not. That's a practice that I go through every time it is I'm looking to create something new. And boy, oh boy, am I surprised sometimes. Like, wow, I had no idea that belief was there. So once you know that belief is there, you can tell yourself the opposite of what it is that belief is, that unconscious limiting belief is. You tell yourself the opposite of that. So I'll give you an example, Linda, of how this might look. I had a client that came to me and I said, well, what's your goal? What's your biggest dream for yourself? She said she wants to build her wealth. And then she said, well, whoa, I'm sorry, forget about that. Let's move on. And I said, well, wait a second. What's going on there? What just happened? And she said, well, that sounds really not genuine. I said, well, how do you want to live your life? She says, I want to live it authentically and I want to live from a genuine place. So do you see the discrepancy there? Her conscious mind says she wants to build wealth, but her subconscious mind is telling her that she cannot live a genuine life or authentic life if she does do that because wealthy people are not genuine. So when you
Oh,
understand that, you can create the shifts that are needed that's going to support you in your true desires. Now, she had a lot of things that she wanted to accomplish and support. Actually, a lot of these things were supporting other people. And so we had to talk about that. This is with additional resources, think about all the other people you can support, you see? So that belief you held was absolutely incorrect. So, once you start to work with your mind in that way, you will begin to move beyond limitation, which means you are living in greater freedom, which means that more opportunities start to present themselves when that happens because you're not resisting those opportunities and possibilities. And then you start to consciously create through a whole higher place of awareness or through awareness to begin with. And when you consciously create your life, all those things, you're doing it from a very different place and it changes everything.
mm. I got to tell you, everything you're saying is resonating with my own personal journey. And I think, too, is everything you talked about, the word awareness comes to me because, as I tell my clients, the moment you become aware of a thought that is no longer serving you, in that one moment of awareness, you're no longer the victim to your thoughts. You now have the power to either continue down that path following that, which is a conscious choice, or recalibrating and choosing a new thought. You become the empowered one. It sounds like what you were saying. It's like that moment of awareness of a belief, thought, or pattern that's limiting you. In that moment, you get to choose something else. And to me, like when someone gets that, don't you get so excited? Like you are not the victim of your thoughts. And
It's incredibly exciting.
yeah,
It's incredibly exciting. And, many people don't realize that they are the creators within their creation. They don't recognize that. And once you do, you can actually have a lot of fun with what it is you're creating. You can actually do it from a conscious place and actually say, well, what is it that I want to create for myself? And that, I think, too, Linda, is incredibly important right now with everything that's happening in the outside world, is to know what it is you want to create for you and stay focused on that and inspire other people around you by what it is you are doing. And imagine then what this world would look like if everybody stayed focused on what they were creating that would bring them joy, right? We would live in a different world. But it all starts with you, starts with me, it starts with each one of us. And we have the power to do that. We have the power to create. That's who we are. It's our very natural state of being. We are creation and we are the creators.
what an empowering message to end this segment with. And one of the things for me is being the light that we want to see in the world, right? And
Yes.
doing that work to keep that light really flowing. So I think change in the world begins with us as individuals, as you so beautifully said. We're going to take our next break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about mindset, old beliefs. And Kim's going to share some practical steps we can take to shift into greater freedom and possibility. So we'll be right back, my friends. I'm with Kim Thalken, Transformational Coach. I invite you to learn more about all the magic she's creating in the world at KimberlyThalken.com. We'll be right back.
Coaches and aspiring guides, this is your time to increase your income and help clients experience real soul-aligned breakthroughs. Become a certified life purpose prosperity soul guide and learn how to help clients embody their elemental astrological archetypes for heart-aligned success, creating lasting shifts they'll deeply value and happily share. This nature-aligned certification provides you with practical tools to support your client's unique purpose and prosperity pathway, opening up powerful new ways to expand your business and increase your income. Lisa Michaels, creator of the Life Purpose Prosperity Blueprint, with over 30 years of proven results, personally mentors you through this dynamic system, grounding cosmic wisdom in earth-honoring leadership practices. Watch a free masterclass revealing how this sacred strategic work can elevate your offerings and your impact. Visit lisa-michaels.com/soulguide to explore your expansion opportunity today.
You're listening to Inspired Conversations. I am loving this conversation today. You know, I'm all about intentional living, empowered mindset, and transforming our beliefs because I know it's possible. And Kim is here sharing steps, strategies, insights, and her spiritual wisdom to support you in doing the same. So, Kim, I mean, you and I both know, and we've been there. So, ladies, this is not judgment. Kim and I, we've both been there. People struggle with mindset and old beliefs, right? So, what are some practical steps we can take to shift into greater freedom and possibility?
Yes. Well, the way that I do that in my work is engage the soul, purify your energy, and upgrade your mind. But you can do some of this for yourself. And I do have a free offer I would love to share with your audience, Linda, because I'm so passionate about this. It
Of
is
course.
about it. Yeah, it's a written step-by-step guide on how to connect to your own highest levels of wisdom, your higher self, your intuition, whatever you'd like to call it. A written step-by-step guide, and it is I also offer a bonus video tutorial where we do it together, because sometimes people say, am I doing it the right way? How should I be doing it? There's no right or wrong, but it'll give you a framework of where to start. And then you get to decide, as the creator within your creation, what the best way for you to connect into. But it is a starting point. And the reason why I feel this is so important is because it is life changing when you start to connect to your own inner wisdom. Incredibly empowering is what happens is your own inner wisdom, your intuition, your higher self is going to give you, expand your perspective on the world around you, on life itself, on all of that goodness. And when you expand your perspective, that's shifting your mindset too. You begin to see the world from a different place. You begin to see your role in the world from a different place. It's like lighting up a Christmas tree. You know how exciting that is when you plug in the Christmas tree and all the lights come on. That's what I liken it to, because you get lit up inside, lit up with inspiration, lit up with creativity, lit up with joy, lit up with peace, lit up with excitement for life. And sometimes I have clients that come to me that are not excited about life anymore. But once they start doing this work, all of a sudden they start to feel and see the possibilities. And then new opportunities start to present, and then life becomes exciting. And you want to get up in the morning. I had, so that's one way. So if you go to my, let me just backtrack. If you go to my website, Kimberly Thalken, that's THALKEN.com. Yeah, that's my free offer. It'll come up and you can just sign up, and I'll send you that information right away. And you start practicing that 10 minutes a day, every single day. That's what put me on this path. Actually, I started with 5 minutes a day, but we all have 10 minutes. You do what's right for you, but 10 minutes a day and change your life. Now, and then you start to work with your mindset, just as we were talking about. I shared a tip earlier where you can get into a nice relaxed state and ask your mind to show you what are your beliefs around, certain parts of your life. Maybe it's relationships, maybe it's finances, maybe it's career, whatever it is, all those different aspects of life. Just have your subconscious mind show you what your beliefs are, and then create something different, change that belief around. You keep telling yourself that new belief, and before you know it, that becomes the place it is you live from. So our minds are capable of learning new things in any moment, every day. It's called neuroplasticity. And so you can work with your mind in that way every single day. Now, it takes commitment, it takes discipline. It's got to be important enough for you to incorporate that into your daily living, because that's what's needed. You're creating new habits. When you create new habits, then you're conditioning the mind, you're reprogramming the mind. When you tell yourself something different, that becomes the new operating system, and the old beliefs start to dissolve. You see, so when you couple it with your own inner wisdom and you upgrade your mind, powerful things happen. I had a client who was 70 years old, and she was uh, newly retired. And she had all these things that she wanted to do for this next chapter in her life, but she had beliefs around that. I'm too old to get started. Who's going to listen to me? She wanted to go out and talk to people and share her life experiences with them to support other people who may be going through the same things. But she had these beliefs, who's going to listen to somebody who's 70 years old? It's too late to start something new. And so it was really affecting her. And she wasn't excited to get out of bed in the morning. Well, she started doing this work together with me and moving beyond those limits. And people around her started asking her, "What are you doing? I notice a change in you. You're happier, you're lighter, you're more excited. You're, talking about ideas, talking about things you want to do with your life." People started to notice this change in her. And so you see that is possible for every one of us. And these are the tools and the practices that I use in my own life. So these are the tools and practices I share with other people. And you can see some beautiful results take place. Your life starts to feel differently, and you start to be more excited.
Yeah, and I think we become, when we do the work as you just so beautifully described, I think what happens in my own experience is we actually become magnetic to our desires because we're shifting our energy into alignment to match those desires. Do you feel it too, that magnetism that happens once you start doing this work? Doors open, divine synchronicities, sacred opportunities come because we've shifted our thoughts, beliefs, and energy to align with that which we want.
Yes. So, Linda, I mean, people can do this little practice in their own lives and just check it out, experiment a little bit. But when you get into a really high vibrational state, meaning, you know, you are feeling elated, you're feeling excited, you're feeling joyful, go out into the world and see how the world responds. I notice when I'm in a very high vibrational state, and the things it is that I was talking about earlier, that'll help you get into that high vibrational state. You can also do things like take walks in nature and go out, and nature does that too. There's all kinds of ways you can raise your vibration, but the tools I was talking about earlier will raise your vibration. But when I go out into the world and I'm in a high place within myself, the world responds in kind. People are helpful. They're holding the door open for you. They're asking, do you need help here? It's just they're responding to you, right? Like you said, there's a magnetic pull and they want to be around you and you're lifting them up too. So they feel good in your presence. When people feel good in your presence, they want to support you. They want to be around you. They want to be helpful. They want to do all of those things. So the world responds differently. And then go out on a day when it is you're not feeling hopeful. Let's say you're in a lower vibrational state, maybe fear, worry, whatever it may be, and you will notice a different experience when you go out into the world. And it's very interesting to take note of that difference. So I say, Linda, it is you're more in a contracted state, huh? When you're in a lower vibrational state, you're more contracted, your heart is closed. When you're in a higher vibrational state, your heart is open, your field is expanded, and people can feel that. So just, take note of that. It's a very interesting thing to be aware of. I say to be aware of. You can have fun with it. Have fun with it. Experiment. See for yourself what the difference is.
And that's what I love about that strategy because it's like sacred experimentation. It's like play with your energy, interact with the world with the different energies, and receive the feedback. And once you start receiving that feedback, I gotta say, it becomes even more fun because you're like, oh, ooh. So then you're always working on your vibration so you can continue to get that positive feedback from the divine, the universe, the world around you. It is fun. It becomes, I started it like using it as a game many years ago, and now it's just the way I live. But because
Mhm.
it was so new to me about energy, the divine back 30 years ago, I had to make it fun. And I really think that I needed to do that kind of game with the divine and energy so that I could understand it on a visceral level too. I need to feel it in my body so that I knew what expansive state, what a joy state felt like in my body because I didn't have that for my first 30 years.
Mm.
So I almost had to reprogram. It's so funny that my name's Joy and I do this for a living now, but um, back then I was very disconnected from my joy. So I
Yeah.
know, when I was in my 30s, for reference, I'm 63, well, will be in October. And that first 30 years, if you asked me what brought me joy, what gave me pleasure, what inspired me, I don't think I could have answered that question. Now I can give you a list because
Yeah.
I only focus and play in what inspires me. So, Kim, we're going to take
Beautiful.
our last break and we'll come back for the last segment. We'll talk about any wisdom or words of encouragement or first steps that you'd like to share to help women begin their journey of transformation. So we'll be back in a moment, my friends. Please visit Kimberly at kimberlythalken.com. Be sure to grab her free step-by-step guide. You'll notice a pop-up comes up on the screen and you can claim it there. We'll be back in a moment for more inspired conversation with Kim Thalken.
Did you know that creativity is a spiritual practice and midlife is a renaissance and are an opportunity to weave wholeness, wonder, and wild wisdom into everyday life? Dr. Minette Riordan is a soul story guide, expressive arts facilitator, and the founder of the Sisterhood of Wisdom and Wonder. A lifelong creative and spiritual seeker, she helps midlife women reclaim their voice, purpose, and passion through storytelling, myth, and sacred self-expression. Minette is the creator of the Midlife Archetype Quiz and the Transformational Mythical Makeover experiences, blending deep psychology, expressive arts, and soulful play. She brings warmth, wisdom, and structure to the wild inner work of midlife transformation. Through retreats, courses, and her vibrant community, she invites women to remember who they are, one brushstroke, one story, one threshold at a time. Learn more at MinetteRiordan.com.
Welcome back. Thanks for being here today. I'm your host, Linda Joy. With me is Kim Thalken, and we are talking about blending soulful wisdom. She's sharing practical guidance, how to release what no longer serves you, and so much more. So in the last segment, Kim, we may have some listeners who may be feeling kind of stuck or maybe even defined by their past. What words of encouragement or even first steps that you would like to share to help them begin their journey?
Yes, well, it's a lot of what we've been talking about, Linda, but prioritize yourself, prioritize you. And so women are so incredibly powerful. There's nothing that brings me greater joy than being around groups of women because they're so resourceful. There's that's how I learn. I learn from being around other women, from people in general, but other moms, other wives, other entrepreneurs, other, just other women in the community. And so, what I find is incredibly important and what we're being called to do now is to come together in community. And I know, Linda, it sounds like you've got some beautiful groups that you already offer. And so I would definitely suggest that coming together in community with other women, because when we come together, we learn from one another. And so whatever it is you're going through, there's going to be somebody else there more than likely that's already been there that can share with you how they navigated their way through. So that's one thing, come together in community with other women, spend time, prioritize yourself. As women, we're caretakers a lot of times. We're nurturers. We're taking care of the families. We're taking care of our children. We're taking care of a lot of other people. And we're down at the bottom of the list. Well, part of, self-care and self-love is putting ourselves at the top of the list. Try that. Try something different. A lot of times when we want to expand into something new, we have to do the opposite of what we've been doing, right? We have to do the opposite. And that's going to be really important, is to prioritize yourself from a place of love for you. And join one of Linda's lovely communities, or join another community in your local neighborhood, or start one. There's so many people out there doing amazing things because they're in a place of pain themselves and like, what do I need? And then they go ahead and they create support. based on what the challenges they're going through. And then lo and behold, all kinds of other women step forward because they're going through that too. I see that in my like local community, online community spaces, and I'll see, like, for the moms in the neighborhood, and I'll see a mom that says, I'm feeling kind of lonely or down. Is there, I'd love more women friendships in my life. Is there anybody else that would like, other women that would like to get together once a week for lunch? Boy, I'll tell you, I there are so many women that end up responding. It's amazing. Other people are feeling the same way. So connect together, support one another, lift each other up. And then, you know, do some of the things that we were talking about earlier, connecting to your own inner wisdom. That'll shift so much. Your life will change if you do that, because what you're doing is you're connecting to your own power. So many of us have disconnected from our power. Just like you said earlier, Linda, at 30, you were disconnected from joy. The joy was there within you. You are joy. But it took you some experiences and time to go to that place within yourself that is joy. And then you start to connect to it. And now that's a big part of what you share with other people. And so, when we do that, our life will change. Your inner wisdom will show you what needs to be seen. And then you can create shifts where needed. And I'll give an example of how this might work, because this is what came up in my life recently. I was so frustrated and upset because I was working, 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 and I love the work that I do. But I became aware, and like Linda said earlier, it's through awareness that's so important, right? Personal power through self-awareness, that I wasn't having enough fun. And so there was an imbalance in my life. And I came to that recognition. I took a walk in nature in this area by my home in our community, and I was sitting by the trees, and I recognized that I wasn't having enough fun. That's where the imbalance was in my life. Well, guess what? With that newfound awareness, that became the center point of the place from which it is I create from now. So I create from a place of fun. So in all areas of my life, whether it is I'm expanding my work, or wanting to bring in new connections into my life, or elevating the connections I do have in my life, everything is done from a place of fun. So now, can I just tell you, I've gotten so many invitations to go out and do fun things because I reprioritized how I was living. And that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about here. So what is it that is missing in your life? Prioritize that. When you do, the universe responds. Everything will turn around when you say, you know what? I'm going to change things. I'm going to prioritize this instead of that. And it'll bring more balance into your life. So there's a lot that I've said there, but I hope that it leaves the listeners equipped with many places to start, because there are many opportunities, many possibilities, many ways in which we can, create that which it is we desire. But it does start with awareness. What is it that you desire? We always have to get clear on that. I recognize that something was out of balance in my life, and through, in connecting inward, through being out in nature, became clear. Oh my gosh, I'm not having enough fun. Guess what I'm going to do about that? As the creator within my creation, that becomes the focal point now. That's the place from which I create from. And now things have shifted.
Well, I love that, and I love that the way you just beautifully described how you shifted. And I know it's going to inspire other women to go, maybe I want some more fun in my life. Also, I love what you said about community. To me, the conversations I have in my private communities, the depth we go, when you are in a safe container, whether it's an
Yes.
in-person, as you said, Kim, these women have been with me for quite a while. I meet with them twice a month. But the depth of our conversations and their feedback is this. I don't have many women or family in my life that I can go this deep, be this open, be this authentic. And
Yes,
they've been yearning for this, so I created it. But I think
yes,
that is universal. We're all craving deeper connection and community because the world creates such the opposite. So that yearning that you may be having, if speaking to my listeners, that yearning you may be having for more joy, more community, more sacred connection, more depth, more authenticity, whatever you're feeling, that's your inner wisdom. That is your soul trying to lead you out of the limiting beliefs, the limiting thoughts that you're having. So, as Kim beautifully said throughout this conversation, follow that. Follow that. Start engaging with your soul, as she said, purifying, I believe it was purifying your energy. Um, I have loved this conversation. We have so much in common, Kim, so we could keep
oh,
going on, but I want to invite everyone to please go to KimberlyThalken.com, grab that free guide, learn more about her programs, offerings, services, connect with her on social media, and whatever platform you're listening right now, all her links are also down below. Kim, thank you for the work you're doing in the world and for circling up with me today. I truly enjoyed our conversation.
it's been such an honor and an absolute blessing to spend this time with you and your listeners, Linda. I have really, really enjoyed it. So thank you so much.
You're welcome, my friend. Until next time, my friends, choose love, choose joy, choose happiness. Blessings.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.